There's something odd about Babel. Almost everyone knows the story, but how many know the exact details? That people who did not believe in Yahweh would erect a tower to reach heaven. There's a detail that I've always found fascinating. They wanted to make a name for themselves. It's a detail because nowhere else in the Bible is making a name for oneself synonymous with narcissistic and worldly pride. And yet here it is, right in the introduction to history. How do you build a name? People do so by leaving their mark on the world, making something lastingly famous. It's not a bad goal. Everyone wants to be remembered. The trouble begins when the name one wants to carve out is not one's own, but that of a god. Abram, whose name means father of terror, will receive a new name, Abraham, father of many. God himself will change his name and justify it. In the same way, the people will no longer be called Shinar, the plain, but Babel, the confused, because they want to make a name for themselves and establish a godless dynasty. They want to go up to heaven. But the formula is ironic because it's precisely there that God comes down. The Tower of Babel is ultimately a miniature version of the entire biblical story. History moves forward when identity is embraced, not imposed. And the book of Genesis, read as a whole, has the rhythm of this movement. There is no going back. But this is not a call to anti-progress. It's the denunciation of a progress without ethics, where the project annihilates the person. Humanity wants to flatten the world, but it cannot escape its curves. It will not build in a straight line, but in a circle. The geography is also striking. Shinar is a plain, not a mountain. Throughout the Bible, when man rejects limits, he flattens. The myth also has an educational function for the post-exilic community. After experiencing imperialism and its manifestations, administrative language, official cults, propaganda, Israel warns against the seduction of great works that demand living bricks and restore oblivion. The text constructs a mirror in which every city can question itself. Are our unifications hospitable or assimilating? In fact, the Tower of Babel does not exist, or rather, it exists and doesn't exist. Yes, because a recognizable Babylon existed, with towers that contemporaries described in hyperbolic terms similar to those in the Bible. No, if we expect a specific event in which God physically intervenes to disrupt a construction site and multiply idioms in an instant, the Bible is not journalism, nor does it intend to be. It is wisdom literature that uses facts and places to speak eternal truths. To accept this double register liberates us from sterile oppositions, all true, all false, and opens us to a reading in which myth and history illuminate each other. The truth of Babel is therefore historical symbolic, rooted in a real landscape, always capable of saying something about us. The Bible tells us little about the tower. The word in Hebrew is ziggurat, referring to a type of temple mountain, a structure that connected earth and sky. The etymology is uncertain, but perhaps derives from the Akkadian word sag, meaning mountain. The Babylonians had several ziggurats, the most famous being Etemenanke, dedicated to Marduk, patron deity of the city. We don't know exactly how these structures were built, but we have numerous texts that tell us about the organization of construction sites, the shifts of workers, the quality controls on clay, the procurement of bitumen, which sealed the coverings against the rain, and other aspects of this immense undertaking. The tower was not an isolated tower in the middle of nowhere, but the node of a temple system with archives, workshops, and ritual kitchens, a sort of small city within a city. The text of Genesis describes it in stark terms. The narrator is detached, almost bored, as if the end of the story were inevitable. He notes the procedure, the goal, and the result. In the beginning, they all come together. Then they say, "Let us build a tower for ourselves, with its summit reaching into the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves so that we may not be scattered over the face of the earth." So they built the tower. But the Lord came down to see the tower which men had built. The text seems to fold in on itself. The verb come constantly returning to a construction site that has become absurd. The protagonist is no longer man, but the action itself, the futility of which is obvious. Then the Lord said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, what will they not do if they become a nation, a people under one roof? This is not a blessing, but a curse." Babel is the birthplace of human ambition, but also of limitation. It is the place where civilizations reached the peak of power and entropy took over. That's all for now. See you soon.